Reloading for the 300 AAC Black Out. This video is not really going to be about reloading techniques. I'm just going to give you my advice on loading for this particular cartridge. It's new to me. It's a new cartridge, and there's a lot of iffy stuff here in terms of loads, and a lot of it too is there's extreme variables, and I won't go over that here. But basically I'm starting off loading this with a 150 grain bullet, and the reason why, 150 grain full metal jacket. Probably out of all the 30 caliber bullets, they're the most common. You can use it for the blackout, the 308 in the M1A1, or 30-06, and make a nice little plinking round with it. And you can get them in bulk. It's 3,000, 4,000, whatever, Hornadies, or several different manufacturers, and they come out when you buy in bulk about 15 cents a piece. I really don't know what soft point or special 30 caliber bullets run, but that's where we're going to go with this. So let's start off. First we got to get our load data, and like I said, I went online, searched up some load data. Some of it varies to where you're probably going subsonic to sonic, which I don't think so. The little gun loads here for a 150 grain bullet are for 1,526 to 2,000 feet per second. I was up in the upper range trying it out and getting up there to 1800s, 1900. I didn't like the performance. IMR, they got a load in here from about 13.5 up to 1,700 feet per second. I kind of, again, and you can get load data where you're only varying, it's going from 12.9 to 16.3. I get load data that will go like in, from 15 grains, 15.2 to 16.3. It depends who's publishing the load data and where you're getting it from. You have to be careful. You'd like to get it where they're showing you the PSI or the CUP that's been tested, because they run it on a machine and checked it out, other than just somebody saying, well, I ran a computer program, because sometimes it don't work out. A lot of variables, type of primer you use, type of bullet, whole 9 yards. So, got my load data off the internet. Now, dies. There's a lot of companies that make dies, and in my opinion, now this is my opinion, this is what I use. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or whatever, the only thing you can do. RCBS, anything in an AR-15 platform, okay? I've never had trouble reloading for an M1 Garand or an M1A1, an M14, but 223 and AR-15, when I first started reloading years ago, and that's why I kind of gave up on it. Trying to use military brass and size it, had a lot of problems. So I went in a gun shop, told the guy I had all these problems. He said, well, try small base dies. And what small base dies are is they're dies specifically made. They're a couple thousands. When they size the brass, they squeeze the base area down. Basically, they're adjusted by a few thousandths, that when they full length size the brass, this area here is a little bit smaller, the base area. And it helps feeding in a semi-automatic or pump gun. Now, RCBS makes small base dies. So I have a set of these RCBS dies in 223, 6.5 Grendel. I'll eventually get them in 6.8 Remington Special Purpose, and I bought them in the 300 AAC Black Out. And it's just a basic set of RCBS dies. Usually they're probably one of the ones with the best quality. Now, the only thing about these is they have a taper crimp. And what that is, if you read the instructions, machined into the seating die, when you go up, instead of roll, which would push over, it's tapered. I forget, like a 1 or 2 degree angle, and what you do is feed it up, and when it seats, that taper is machined into the die. Will actually put a very slight angle and pinch the mouth of the case. Now, I've tried it. It's a little unusual, and you got to watch it on some of them. If you adjust it too heavy, it'll actually kind of collapse the case a little. And in my test run, I used it. I'm going to go and get a Lee factory crimp die, because the reason is I really like the Lee die because you just kind of come down. I believe there's like a collet that'll squeeze around the mouth of the case. With the Lee die, you got room. With a taper crimp die like this, all your cartridge cases should be within a thousandths or two in the length to get the same uniform crimp. Where the Lee die is kind of crimping on a wider area and just kind of like a collet, just giving it a squeeze all the way around. And you don't have to worry so much about being exact within thousandths, because if any of you have trimmed brass, you know that it's a pain to get that brass all of the same length within a thousandths or two. And I know there's people who do it. It's just real time consuming, and this is kind of like a high volume cartridge, 223 in this here. We're not looking for a match gun. I'm not going out to shoot competition. I'm just got an AR I like to shoot. Okay? So again, it's your choice how you want to go about it. I want to try to save time because I want to load a lot of these cartridges, shoot this gun, and have fun. So I go with the taper base dies for sizing, because what it does is make sure you don't get any stoppages from feed problems, and it works. It helps out. You could always go and just buy the one die. If you got a set already, like a Lee or something else, you can go get a taper crimp sizing die. That's all you need. But that's what I use. Now, there's about 10 billion videos on there when it comes to the brass for this 300 Black Out. Basically, all it is your standard 223 brass, military brass, that has been cut down, and you open the neck up. That's the whole idea. And there's fixtures where you can use a little chop saw I got, saw the brass off, and it's just basically a matter of resizing and opening up the neck, and getting I'll get a case. Okay, here the two of them are side by side. It's just basically a matter of cutting off the standard AR-15 or 223 case and then opening the neck up to 30 caliber. Okay, it's actually a shorter cartridge. There's a lot of video and information. If you want to take the time to do it yourself, great. I don't. One thing I don't have is time. And I mean, I wish I did, but I don't. And I'm not that young anymore. This tedious stuff just about kills me. So I was looking around online. You can buy new brass with a head stamp that'll say 300 Black Out on it. That Magtek and that is made like that. Probably the most economical thing to do, and what I found and what I went with, is I found a company called blackoutbrass.com. And they sell you the brass, already processed, ready to go. 500 round boxes. You can buy 500, I bought 1,000, 2,000, 3, whatever you want. And the brass comes, it's all been converted, sized, cleaned, and ready to go. Okay? I just take them, I measured a whole bunch of them, they're all trimmed to the proper length, within a few thousandths of each other. They're not, like I said, this isn't match quality. you know, within 5 thousandths, but they're all trimmed well, okay? What's it telling me? 68, and this 1" 3 68 is the maximum length, and I'm getting 1" 3 55. So they do a pretty good job, and all you do, yeah, 55, 58. All you do is prime it, load it with powder, run it up, and ready to go. So I like it, and that's what I'm going to do. So the brass problem is taken care of. Now, when it comes to projectiles, this is where we're going to get into another area. You know, your load and now your bullets. Like I said, the 30 caliber full metal jacket is probably the least expensive and most common bullet you're going to find from any bullet maker. And I have 3 different types here. And I want you to look at them. This one here is a Hornady, this first one. It's a Hornady full metal jacket bullet, and when you buy them in bulk, you can get them pretty cheap. I had to buy these 100 round bags and ended up paying about 20 cents a piece for them. You can get it down to 15 cents a piece if you buy in bulk. And like I said, it could be used for 308, 30-06, several other uses. I got like 3-4 calibers I can use that same bullet. Next one is 150 grain Magtec. Now this is what the guy, the middle one, the guy over at Black Out Brass, he sells these. And you can find them on other websites. And then the last one is PPU, Privy Partisan, 150 grain. And that is what I used in a test at first, this here, the PPU. The reason is the bag broke open in shipping and the bullets were all loose, so I used them first. Now if you look at these 3 bullets, you'll notice where the crimp groove is. PPU, it's pretty low. It's almost like I was getting the overall cartridge length of about 200 or 2 inches, 230 it says in the load data. I was getting it a little less, like close to 2 inches, 200. Let me check real quick my notes. What was I seating them to? 2" 220. Okay. And that's going right to the groove. Okay, so that's kind of almost made perfect for this cartridge. Now the Magtek, if you notice, that's got the highest one. And these bullets are all a different length. The PPU is the shortest. That one's about 50 thousandths longer overall. And that one's about 100 thousandths longer, the Hornady. Which will also translate into where that crimp groove arrives. Now the difference in the crimp groove is about 200 thousandths. So that's a factor. I don't know if it's going to be a problem. I know that middle bullet, I will not seat that to the crimp groove. I believe the bullet will be too short. And this is when it comes into play with the case, how far you're seating it. That does have a direct effect on the cartridge and the pressure, depending on your powder charge. So I may suggest that depending on what powder you use, like with the black powder thing, make a little wooden dowel or stick and put it down there and get a rough measurement of where the mouth of the case is to the powder and see how it compares to where you're going to seat your bullet to, because you may be compressing the charge with the bullet if you try to seat to these higher grooves. Or if you're doing subsonic, you might be using so little powder that it don't matter. See, this is where this cartridge, a lot of variances, a lot of things to look out for, and there's some work in here. You know, I guess you're going to have to experiment, because in the load data they give you specific bullets in the company and what they were seated to. Okay, which I'm not using any of them at the time. I'm using full metal jacket. So a couple things you got to pay attention to, or keeping, at least it's a concern to me. and as I go along, I'll tell you what I find. Basically, that's why I make these videos, is to discuss problems of that nature. So I decided when I went out and tested them using a bullet, the little gun ran real quick before my chronograph screwed up and broke down. But the little gun, I was running high velocities. I think I got them right here. Yeah, with the 150 grain bullet. I like a load that averages out using, I found IMR 4227. When it averaged out to about 1700 feet per second was the tightest group I got, okay, which is sonic. And even though if you went up to 17 grains and it kind of, your standard deviation and that kind of ironed out, the accuracy wasn't there, but the chronograph results showed that the ammunition kind of leveled out there. Now I got a 1 in 8 twist rate on that barrel. I don't know if they come in different twist rates, and yeah, it will make a difference depending on the shape and weight of your bullet. Little gun for my chrono crapped out at 14 grains. I was getting an average of 1725, and then the next one jumped up almost 1,000. I was in 1801, so it's 75 feet per second, a difference of a half grain. What the 15 and 15 and a half did, I don't know. They got 17 grains of little gun, supposedly popping that out. Let me see. We got a 14 and a half in there. Yeah, we do. 1778. See, I had with the little gun on my low end is close to what's published here, 1784, 1778. Could be the crimp, could be a lot of things. I was getting over 1800 feet per second. So that's why you never start at the max. You always got to go low and kind of go up, because sometimes this data don't jive, or at least, you know, maybe it's the primer I'm using is different. I ain't using Remington primers, I'm using CCI primers. That can make a difference. So what I'm going to do today is I like that 16 grains of 4227, and I'm going to load up 50 rounds each of different bullets, and then we're going to go out and see if the bullet makes a difference. Using the same powder charge, see if I can get better accuracy out of one bullet compared to the other. And like I said, seating them all the same length and seeing where I come up with the crimp. And I've got the Lee crimp die coming. I'm not going to be able to crimp these today, but I'm going to get them loaded up, and when the die comes, crimp them, and then see if that makes a difference too. Okay. Alright, here we have our 3 different bullets on seated cartridge. On the left here is our 150 grain PPU bullet, and as you see, it's almost ideal for this round. Next to it, and I was mistaken, is the Magtek bullet. Its crimp groove's lower on the bullet than the Hornady on the far right. And as you see, I seated this just below that groove. And the reason is, when I was checking, my powder level comes up to just under that shoulder. So I didn't want to seat them bullets too far in there and start compressing the powder. So as you can see, that's where I ended up with the Magtek. And if we look at the Hornady, that groove is way higher, so it's sticking out more. It's not close to the crimp groove. But as you could see from the rough positioning, you know, I got a good section of the bullet into the neck, and without seating it back too far and compressing the powder and maybe causing a change or difference. Now what I'm going to do is, once I get my Lee factory crimp die, I'm going to crimp them all. But right for now, I'm just going to let them set, and then probably in a week or two, if I get some time, I'll go out and shoot them. And, oh, one other thing, yes, the overall length, 2 inches, 200 thousandths. I kind of kept that consistent on all 3 cartridges, are the same overall length. Now we're going to go see if the different bullet makes a difference. Same powder, primer, and that. And I'm going to take them out, shoot them, and see if there's a variation in the performance. And so I'll get back to you with another video once we test it out.